Hey, Nikki Sanders here with Nikki Sanders Leadership Consulting. Welcome back to my More Than Social Work with Nikki Sanders YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to bring you another social work video. So, as a graduate level or master's level social worker, as a social worker practicum supervisor, I've supervised undergraduate and graduate social work students, as a professor of undergraduate social work courses, and just years of experience in the social work human services field. What I want to talk to you today, social workers, about is your core values. So we talk a lot about the social work code of ethics. We talk a lot about social work core principles and core values. But what about your core values? So yes, memorize the code of ethics. Yes, operate by the code of ethics. But sometimes you are going to have to dig a little deeper and figure out what works best for you and your clients. And you can't do that if you don't have a starting point or a compass. So Professor Nikki today is going to give you the assignment of coming up with your own set of professional social work core values. Now, whether you call it core values, whether you call it social work theory, I call it my social work philosophy, whatever you call it, you need to set up your own compass. You need to build from your own solid foundation. Bring in all of the things that you learn in social work school, but also your lived experiences. Bring it together as your starting point. So many of you have heard me say over and over that social workers do not take a vow of poverty. Now, I have been saying that for over 2 decades, right? I was saying that right after undergraduate school, because again, social workers do not take a vow of poverty. We are not martyrs, we're not volunteers, we are not superheroes. We are human beings who have human needs, food, clothing, shelter, that only money can solve, right? So I'm going to give you my 5 pillars or principles in my social work philosophy, and then encourage you to come up with your own. So number 1 is define social work career success on your own terms. Don't let someone tell you what you have to do, what you can't do. This is the only way to do it. That is completely untrue. You need to define social work career success on your own terms. What works for you, what you want to do, how you want to use your unique skills, education, experience, because everything that we do is unique to us. Even if someone else is doing the same thing, you bring your own uniqueness and individuality to it. So don't follow your professor's social work career. Don't follow your supervisor's social work career. Decide what social work means to you and define social work career success on your own terms. If you want to get a license, go get the highest license. If you want to get an advanced degree after your MSW, DSW, or PhD, go on and do that. If you want to shift between populations, remember meso, macro, micro social work, then do that. But define social work career success on your own terms, with the population, with the industry, with the environment. Listen, I am working with teenagers outside on a farm. That is where my social work career is taking me right now. And so if you haven't heard of environmental social work or eco social work or green social work or public health social work, what I do can fall into any of those categories depending on the day. So define social work career success on your own terms. Social work is more than child welfare. It's more than school social work. It is more than clinical practice or therapy. Define social work career success on your own terms. So that's my number 1 philosophy. Define social work career success on your own term. Number 2, we're coming back to it. Social workers do not take a vow of poverty. You can be in it for the income and the outcome. You don't have to sacrifice your own financial well-being, your own health and wellness, your own stress level, right? Emotional well-being in order to be a social worker. You should not have to live in poverty because you have chosen to help other people live a better life. So social workers, do not take a vow of poverty. Repeat after me. I can be in it for the income and the outcome. Believe that, practice it, write it on the mirror, get a tattoo, put it in your book, whatever you need to do. Understand and internalize that you don't have to be poor and struggle financially just because you decided to be a social worker. Number 3, professional burnout is not, I repeat, is not a social work rite of passage. Have I experienced professional burnout? I have. Have I experienced compassion fatigue? I have. But again, it does not have to be a rite of passage. And it's a two-part or two-pronged approach. So there are things that we can do as individuals. Some of it was about me ignoring my own boundaries. Some of it was about me over giving in ways that I knew I actually should not have. But the other parts of that is the places where we work, the unreasonable expectations, the high workloads, the too little staff trying to do too many things. And if we go a level above that, our culture is committed to hustle and grind, right? Get it done, do, productive. You always have to keep doing and going and doing and going. You don't. You get to set the boundaries that you need to be healthy. You get to set the boundaries that you need to be productive and efficient and effective, because if you are burned out, you can't help your clients. You also can't help yourself and your family, but you can't help your clients. So professional burnout impacts the individual social worker, it impacts the clients, it impacts the organization, it impacts the profession, all negatively. So I love that this new generation of social workers is like, I'm clocking out at 3 o'clock, I'm taking my paid time off, I'm not eating at my desk, I'm going outside and take a walk, and I'm going to eat some vegetables. How about that? So, social workers, I need you to understand that professional burnout is not a social work rites of passage, and we all have a role to play to make sure that we are not just overburdening ourselves in the profession over and over again, because we're losing really good social workers because of this thing. All right, so I gave you 1, I gave you 2, I gave you 3, now at 4. Social work skills are high income skills. That goes with the social workers don't take a vow of poverty. Now, we all understand what's happening in the federal government, but there are still federal government positions in terms of social work, and not just with the VA, not just with Health and Human Services. You know, the Department of Education is not, has not been abolished completely. There are so many federal government agencies that hire social workers for your skills, for your experience, not just for your license or your job title. There's county government, there's state government, there's federal government, but there are also corporations that understand social workers and social workers' skills. We are experts at human behavior, at communication, at collaboration and teamwork. So if you want to go over here and run youth development programs, if you want to teach in higher education, if you want to create an employee wellness program, all of those things you can do, and you can make money outside of the small idea that we have that private practice is the only way to, pass the 6-figure mark in social work. Consulting, coaching, all of those things are available to you as a social worker. So if you don't know a social worker who has gone beyond what the 6-figure mark is, and truthfully in this economy, $100,000 really is not a lot of money. In the grand scheme of things, it is. But when you look at this economy that we're living in, $100,000 doesn't go as far as it did 3, 4, 5 years ago. So if you don't know a social worker who is not struggling financially, make that a part of your homework. connect with a social worker. You can follow them online. You can read their books. Social workers are out here being authors. We're setting up retreats. So you can find those social workers if you do some research and see that your social work skills really are high income skills. And number 5, your social work skills are highly transferable. I just said that, right? Whether you are doing something related to travel or public health or agriculture, you are an author, you want to shift into entrepreneurship that does not include private practice or therapy. Your social work skills, education, and training, your human behavior expertise, your communication strategies, your ability to connect people together, to problem solve, to find resources and share them, to connect with people. All of those skills are highly transferable skills. So if you're a great writer and you want to do some grant writing, you don't have to do grant writing for a small nonprofit organization. There are big corporations that not only could be writing grants to collaborate with someone, but can have you as the social worker setting up the grants for someone else. So you can work on both sides of that fundraising, development, grant writing piece. Community engagement, absolutely, policy, advocacy. Your social work skills are highly transferable skills. So I'm gonna backtrack your homework again. Professor Nikki is giving you this homework. You need to decide what your social work core values are. Just because I have 5 pillars or principles in my social work philosophy, it does not matter. You come up with what works best for you. So my number 1 in my social work philosophy is to define social work career success on your own terms. Number 2 is social workers do not take a vow of poverty. Number 3 is professional burnout is not a social work rite of passage. Number 4 is social work skills are high income skills. And number 5, social work skills are highly transferable. I use that in all of my coaching, in all of my teaching, in all of my training, but I also use that as my guiding principles in how I navigate social work and my social work career and in my business. So what are your core values? Think about it. Think about it, write it down, share it with me. I would love to hear in the comments what your social work core values or your social work philosophy or your social work guiding principles or beliefs are. This is Nikki Sanders with Nikki Sanders Leadership Consulting. Thanks for watching. Let me know. Get your homework done. Get it done. See you later. Bye.